Hi guys, James Egan here. Now that Avengers Endgame has come out, I decide to look at Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. The president of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, is said that he's fully aware that Marvel has had a problem for many years with weak villains. No matter how much you love the movies, a lot of people say that for many years, the only good villain was Loki. To counter this, Kevin Feige decided to make Thanos the lead character in this film. He is the protagonist not only because he drives the plot, but he's in the film for 29 minutes, meaning that he has more screen time than any other character. And that is the first of 100 facts about Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Let's dive in. One of the collector's trophies is Tobias Funk from the TV show Arrested Development. Thanos says, "Where is the stone?" to Benicio del Toro's character, the Collector. Benicio del Toro said the exact same line as Frankie Four Fingers in the film Snatch.
Where's the stone? Where is the stone?
Josh Brolin plays Thanos. He wore a motion capture suit for his portrayal as the Mad Titan. Although Thanos is considered to be the best villain in all the Marvel films, Brolin felt like a prop rather than an actor since he found his mocap suit so alienating. After Brolin was cast, Brolin went into a comic book store to research the character. When he walked in, the store clerk pointed at him and shouted, "Thanos, Thanos, 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 Thanos!" When it was officially announced at Comic-Con that Josh Brolin would be playing Thanos, Robert Downey Jr. presented him with a rose. Brolin ate it. Ryan Reynolds wrote a parody letter to Tony Stark asking if Deadpool could be in the Avengers. His reply was, "No, absolutely not. Go bother Professor X, no." Although Peter Dinklage is 4'4", he plays the 10-foot-tall character, Etri. Although you would assume this is just basic camera trickery, making Dinklage appear this tall was one of the most difficult special effects in the entire film. Since Robert Downey Jr. has played Iron Man for 10 years, he was allowed to change or add any dialogue since he understood the character better than the scriptwriters or the directors. Tom Holland kept breaking character during scenes since Chris Pratt kept making him laugh. In the film, Bruce Banner warned the people of Earth that Thanos is coming. In the comics, it was Silver Surfer who warned humanity. I already did a video about Silver Surfer. I'll leave a link at the end of this video if you want to check that out. I mean, I've done a video about every single character in this movie, but you know what I mean. In the original script, Thor's hammer Stormbreaker was meant to be built by dragons. At one point, Marvel Studios hinted there may be 2 Infinity Gauntlets, but this never came to be. An engineering professor called Steve Cranford calculated how strong Thanos is. Thanos is as strong as 750,000 people, which makes this bit where Captain America holds his ground make no sense. Iron Man's nanotech suit is called Bleeding Edge. The Guardians of the Galaxy were originally not going to appear until the following film. During production, the snap was called the Bloodbath. The directors call it the Decimation. The film's fake title is Mary Lou. When Peter Dinklage was cast, it was rumored that he'd be playing MODOK or Black Dwarf. Black Dwarf's name was changed to Cull Obsidian. You thought he was going Black Dwarf because his name is Dwarf, even though he's not a dwarf. And you thought he was going to play MODOK just because he has a big head. MODOK isn't even a dwarf! In April, the movie magazine Empire had a cover to promote Avengers Infinity War. However, Elizabeth Olsen, who played Scarlet Witch, was photoshopped so badly she was unrecognizable. Elizabeth Olsen already looks stunning. Why did you have to do that to her? The story takes place 4 years after the events in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. No CGI was used to make Peter Parker's arm hair stand on end in the bus scene. This effect was achieved by having a crew member blow in the actor's ear. In the comics, Thanos can use the Gauntlet's power so long as it's on his hand. In the film, he can only use its power by closing his fist. This was changed as Thanos would be too powerful since he could kill anyone in his proximity in a microsecond without exerting any effort. The aliens in Wakanda do not have an official name, but the directors refer to them as Space Dogs. There are 70 extras in the Wakandan army. Special effects were used to make it appear that the army was much larger. At one point, Tony Stark asked Doctor Strange, "Do you concur?" This line is often said by Sherlock Holmes to Dr. Watson in the Sherlock Holmes stories. This is a reference to the fact that the actors in the scene, Benedict Cumberbatch and Robert Downey Jr., have both portrayed Sherlock. A lot of Josh Brolin's facial structure was incorporated into Thanos' face compared to his earlier depictions. This was so the audience would see Thanos as as a person rather than a generic alien. No actor was allowed to read the entire script. Benedict Cumberbatch read more of the script than anyone. A Thanos origin comic called Thanos Titan Consumed was written to tie in with this movie. The distress call at the beginning is given by Kenneth Branagh, who directed the film Thor. In the comics, Thor's battle axe Stormbreaker is wielded by a horse-like alien called Beta Ray Bill, who allied with the God of Thunder and eventually became the new Thor. The Wakandans refer to Bucky as White Wolf. In the comics, this was the name of Black Panther's brother. Some people complain that Spider-Man's spider sense wasn't displayed in Spider-Man Homecoming. To make up for this, his spider sense is revealed the instant Peter Parker appears in the film. Captain America's darker costume is based on his nomad outfit in the comics. During this time, Cap lost faith in America because the president turned into a snake. It was such a stupid comic. Their pre-booked cinema tickets outsold their pre-booked tickets for the previous 7 Marvel films combined. Thanos makes Star-Lord's gun shoot bubbles. This is a reference to how Thanos uses bubbles as a weapon in the video game Marvel Superheroes. That's one of my favorite games, so I feel like I was the only person that got that reference. The directors wanted to incorporate Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones, but the film already had too many characters. Thanos was meant to walk through a river of his victim's blood to claim the Soul Stone, but the writers thought the scene would be too disturbing. Thanos' team is called the Black Order. They are made up of Ebony Maw, Cull Obsidian, Proxima Midnight, and Corvus Glaive. All their names are connected to blackness. Ebony Maw means Dark Speaker, Cull Obsidian means Black Death, Proxima Midnight means Among the Dark, and Corvus Glaive means Death Raven. There was meant to be a scene showing how the Black Order joined Thanos, but it was cut. In the comics, Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight are married. Corvus can't die so long as he holds his weapon, and Proxima's staff can create a black hole or a supernova. Also, Proxima wears a black helmet in the comics. In the film, Proxima wears no helmet and has horns growing out of her head. The director decided that Proxima wouldn't wear a helmet as she would look too similar to Hela, the antagonist of the previous Marvel film, Thor Ragnarok. Weirdly, this is one of 2 films to come out in 2018 that star Paul Bettany and revolve around a villain called Proxima. The other film is Solo. Ebony Maw is Thanos' most loyal servant. In the comic this film is based on, the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos' servant is Mephisto, who is Marvel's version of Satan. Some of Maw's lines are taken directly from Mephisto in the story, including, "My humble personage bows before your grandeur." Terry Notary plays a giant brute, Cull Obsidian. Notary also provides the motion capture for Groot. Drax claims he can stand motionless for hours. The actor that portrayed Drax, Dave Bautista, had to stand motionless for hours while his makeup was applied. When Josh Brolin played Thanos in Guardians of the Galaxy, he said he based the character off Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now. Weirdly, he based Thanos in this movie off another character that he's already played, Dan White in the film Milk, since both characters have good intentions but become murderous when they're ignored. The snap was supposed to happen at the beginning of the sequel. At the last minute, the directors decided to put the snap at the end of this film. Scarlet Witch no longer speaks in an Eastern European accent like she did in Avengers Age of Ultron.
I just did. Do you know how it felt?
I just feel you.
The film cost $321 million. It made just over $2 billion at the box office, making it the 4th film ever to gross $2 billion at the time. The film made $630 million in its opening weekend. It made about the same amount of money in 3 days than Justice League did in its entirety. Tom Holland improvised the line, "I don't want to go." In this film, we learn that Thanos wiped out half of Gamora's race. But in Guardians of the Galaxy, they said Gamora was the last of her kind. Plot hole. Okay guys, now we're going to talk about the snap. So if you somehow don't know about this, then click away. But anyway, here goes. All the spoilers for the ending of Infinity War. Nearly every person who dies during the snap is being watched by the person who is the most emotionally connected to them. This was done to magnify the severity of the snap. Most of the actors didn't know who would die during the ending until the day of shooting. And even after they filmed it, they still weren't sure. Mark Ruffalo filmed a scene where his character died, and he filmed another scene where he survived the movie's aftermath. He had no idea if his character survived until he saw the movie. To keep the story under wraps, the directors tweeted a picture threatening anyone that leaked the plot. The letter ended with the hashtag Thanos demands your silence. By the way, everyone goes on and on about how sad it is that Spider-Man says, "I don't want to go." You know what's the most depressing thing in this movie? Although Groot can only say, "I am Groot," the script has a translation for all his dialogue. When he says, "I am Groot" for the last time when he looks at Rocket just before he dies, it translates into Dad. And that is so depressing, I have to end it on a funny one. According to the directors, the guy who plays Galaga in the Avengers was killed during the snap. You will never be forgotten, guy. Seriously, you won't be forgotten because that was, like, really funny. Now let's look at Avengers Endgame, which came out in 2019. There will be spoilers, but they'll be at the end of this video, and I'll warn you beforehand. It was implied that the mid-credit scene of Captain Marvel was a scene from Avengers Endgame. This scene was intentionally made to misdirect the audience as it doesn't appear in this film. Many fans criticized the poster since Danai Gurira, who plays Okoye, wasn't credited. The poster was recalled, so her name could be added. Robert Downey Jr. was the only cast member that was allowed to read the entire script. Brie Larson plays Captain Marvel. Although that film came out a month before Avengers Endgame, Larson shot her scenes for this film first. This is the third Avengers movie to be released the same year as a film directed by Quentin Tarantino. An Ant-Man helmet can be seen in Pym's office. This helmet's design is exactly the same as the comics. The trailer shows Tony Stark in space, stating that he's had no food or water for 4 days. After the trailer was released, NASA tweeted several tips on how Tony could stay alive. Tom Holland plays Spider-Man. It's common knowledge that he'd be the worst Spider-Man in real life because he can't keep anything secret. For Infinity War, he accidentally leaked the film's poster, and the directors gave Holland a fake script just to see if he would spoil it, which he did. To be even more careful to ensure he didn't spoil anything for this movie, Tom Holland wasn't even told who was in his scenes. He wasn't even told what was happening. So they would say, go over there and look sad, go over there and look happy. He didn't know who he was talking to. Despite this, Holland still managed to spoil the fact that the quantum realm plays a huge role in the film. 900 hours were shot for this film. Smart Hulk was meant to appear in the previous movie. There was supposed to be a scene showing Black Widow looking after children who'd been orphaned from the snap. In the same script, Thor was supposed to have become a vigilante killer after the snap. This idea was repurposed for Hawkeye. It seems fitting that Thanos is Iron Man's nemesis since the supervillain debuted in an Iron Man comic. When the Avengers are looking at people who supposedly died during the snap, an image of Scott Lang appears. This image was taken directly from Paul Rudd's IMDb page. If you type in Infinity Gauntlet into a Google search engine, an Infinity Gauntlet appears. If you click on it, half the search results will disappear. Ned wears a t-shirt depicting the Iron Giant. This character is based on Ted Hughes' novel, The Iron Man. Thanos leaves his armor in a field to ward off pests, much like how humans use scarecrows in fields to ward off crows. The shot of his armor among his crops is taken directly from the comic Infinity Gauntlet 6. During the opening scene, all the characters that died from the snap have been removed. Also, half the instruments in the opening title card are not used as a reference to the snap. Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly filmed the films Ant-Man and the Wasp and Avengers Endgame simultaneously. The director said the series finale of Star Trek The Next Generation inspired the movie. Chris Evans plays Captain America for the 9th time. He has played the character every year since 2011 in 9 different movies. Zoe Saldana, who plays Gamora, erroneously stated the film was called Avengers Infinity Gauntlet. Some opening night tickets were sold on eBay for $15,000. On September 11, 2017, production was shut down due to Hurricane Irma. Brie Larson and Chris Evans worked together in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which is also based on a comic. This is the first film ever to star all the original Avengers: Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Ant-Man, and the Wasp. The film cost $356 million. The director, Joe Russo, cameos as a grieving man that Steve speaks to in the support group. Jim Starlin, who created the character of Thanos, also cameos in this scene. Morgan tells Happy she wants a cheeseburger. This is a reference to how Tony Stark told Happy he wanted a cheeseburger in the film Iron Man. Ken Jeong cameos as a security guard. Yvette Nicole Brown cameos as a SHIELD agent. Both actors play main roles in the TV series Community. Captain America says "Hail Hydra" to the Hydra agent in the elevator scene. This is a reference to the 2017 comic Secret Empire, when Cap was brainwashed, forcing him to become an agent of Hydra. Howard the Duck was meant to appear in Infinity War, and you might think that would be really jarring. He is actually in this movie in the last battle. And now, let's look at the spoilers. So, if you somehow haven't seen this movie, then just scoot away. When Groot says, "I am Groot" at the end of the movie, Star-Lord and Thor burst out laughing, while Groot says translates into, "You guys should have a measuring contest." The character, Harley Keener, appears in the final group scene. He's the kid that helped Tony Stark in Iron Man 3. Robert Downey Jr. did not want to say his line, "I am Iron Man." Although Natalie Portman recorded some dialogue, she recorded no new scenes. The scene she appeared in was from the deleted scene in Thor: The Dark World. Thanos wears the gauntlet on his left hand. Iron Man wears it on his right hand to symbolize that he is Thanos' opposite. The song that Cap and Peggy dance to is the same song that Nick Fury plays in Captain America: Winter Soldier when he is hiding out in Steve Rogers' house. Tony Stark calls Rocket Build-A-Bear. He calls Nebula Blue Meanie. He calls Thor Lebowski as a reference to Jeff Bridges' character in The Big Lebowski. Weirdly, Jeff Bridges plays the villain Obadiah Stane in Iron Man. And the final fact is, although this is a momentous occasion because it is the end of a story that's been going on for 22 movies, the Marvel Studios president stated that they had planned out another 20 films. So if you thought you were getting superhero fatigue, you haven't seen anything yet. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Please let me know if there's any other comic book movies you want me to do a video about, and I'll upload it as soon as possible.